The foster care system is meant to protect children during their most vulnerable moments, vulnerable times of their life. But for many, it has become another source of trauma. Dr. Rob Scheer was raised in the foster care system, forced out on his own. Get this, he was only 18. He had to leave with all of his belongings in a trash bag. Well, he turned that into success in his life. He is the founder and CEO of Comfort Cases, a nonprofit dedicated to restoring dignity to children entering foster care. He's also the proud father of 5 children himself, all adopted from that same system. And we say good morning and welcome, Dr. Rob Scheer. Great to have you on.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet, Doctor. What an incredible story you have. The foster care system, though, not incredible. It isn't just broken. You say it is shattered. Tell us about that.
I tell it to my kids all the time. When something is broken, you can actually take super glue and put it back together. But when something is actually shattered, it has to be rebuilt. And we must do that, Ken. See, in the United States, we have one child every 2 minutes who's entering foster care, 700 a day. They actually enter the system because of choices other people made. Instead of what do we do? We hand them this. We actually hand them a trash bag to carry their belongings and expect their self-worth to think that they actually are seen. The thing is I know that firsthand. I wasn't seen as a young boy, and that at 18, I did the aging out, as we see close to about 20,000 children in the United States age out of foster care every single year. The thing that we all must know, as your listeners and viewers are watching this, we have close to 70% of those 20,000 kids, they become homeless within the first 48 months.
Oh, what an incredible that's an incredible statistic. How did you when you, I can't even fathom where to start. How do you walk out on a street not knowing where you're going to sleep tonight with a bag full of stuff? What did you do when you walked out?
Ken, I was actually the youngest of 10 kids. My mother had been married 6 times. And so all of us were scattered everywhere. And for me, I knew exactly what happens when you put the F word in front of a kid's name: teenage pregnancy, drug addiction, incarceration. 80% of our death row inmates were actually in foster care. If that doesn't tell your viewers and listeners that we have a system that is beyond broken, nothing will. But for me, I wanted my life to be different. I did not want the system to define who I was. I wanted to define my own path.
That's amazing. But not too many kids have that ability. They're worried about where they're going to put their head down that night, right? When they age out and they're put out on the street. Just it's a horrifying thought, and I think we get we live our daily lives and we don't even think that that exists. Thank God you're here to point out that yes, this is a very real problem and it needs to be totally revamped. How did you go from living on the streets to becoming a success in business and a doctor?
Yeah, so I have to tell you, I joined the United States Navy. And by the way, I did not join the Navy to take care of anybody that's listening to this. I joined the Navy because I was hungry. I'd been living on the street since the fall of 1984. I was now in the May time of 1985. I joined the Navy, became a very successful businessman, and I never looked back until 17 years ago when it was time to build our family. And when my husband and I decided to adopt, we adopted through foster care. And lo, would I know that not one, not two, but 4 kids would arrive at my front door within a matter of 3 months, and all 4 of them having this trash bag. And I just was like, we have got to do better. Nelson Mandela said it so clearly, Ken. Each and every one of us in society are judged by the way we treat our children. Kids in foster care, they don't belong to you. They don't belong to me. They don't belong to your viewers. They belong to all of us, to all of us. And for me, I knew I needed to let these kids know that we see them, we love them, and we are there for them. So we grabbed a backpack, we put all the essential items in it, and we started handing them out. In 13 years, because of amazing people, we have delivered over 300,000 backpacks. We have delivered them to all 50 states, DC and Puerto Rico. And yes, we have delivered them to New Jersey, where you all have close to 3,000 children in foster care. And yes, it's the lowest number you have ever seen in your state, but we cannot forget it's 3,000 children that still need us.
First of all, let me just say that your kids are very lucky to have you and your husband as a family with the positivity and the love that so many kids don't get. And that's just such a blessing that they have that. But the reality is just too many kids don't have that. And as you pointed out, I did not know the statistics. You said 80% of, give me that stat again, 80% of people who
So,
are
so we have
incarcerated?
80%. We have 80% of our death row inmates were either touched or in foster care. But listen to this. We have close to 400,000 kids, Ken, in the foster care system. Only 54% of them will actually graduate high school. That's it. That's it. If that was happening in your school district and my school district, we would have the superintendent's head on a platter. But we allow this continuously in our foster care system.
Well, how can people help out? What's the first step if somebody wants to do something to help change this?
Well, you know what, Ken? The first thing that we all must understand is that our legacy is about what we give and not about what we take. And each and every one of us can make an impact. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of degrees. What you have to understand is each and every one of us have something that's special, and that's time. Time. So take that time and truly impact your community, but realize your community is not your zip code. Your community is our human race. So what affects you in New Jersey affects me in my little town of Darnestown, Maryland. So get out there and serve, mentor these kids, volunteer, come to comfortcases.org and find out how you can take those little travel lotions and shampoos that you took at that hotel and send them to us because it truly makes an impact for a child.
You're a special man, Dr. Rob Scheer. Again, give that website one more time. Is it comfortcases.org?
That is correct. Comfortcases.org. And never forget the .com world, we're takers. But in the .org world, we all give. So let's give.
Absolutely. Amen to that. Dr. Rob Scheer, thank you for coming on. Please come on again. We'd love to talk to you more. And let's see if we can't come up with a much better system than the shattered one that is foster care today. Great to have you on today.
Thank you, my friend.
You bet. Wow. Special man, special family. And what a life.